But hey, that was One Piece. But like, well,
No.
the universe has a way of balancing itself out. And so for a really enjoyable One Piece, we had Ahsoka episode 5, and I can tell you guys are excited to talk about it. So, it's a funny spell that this show is weaving on people. As far as I can see on Twitter, they pull out the Memberberries and they squeeze them without mercy until they get a little bit of juice out, and people just absolutely lap it up. And that's what we've been getting in this episode. Remember Anakin?
Shit, yes.
Remember the Clone Wars? Remember how you used to like that stuff? Well, we've got it here. We brought back Hayden Christensen.
Again.
And he's here to teach Ahsoka a lesson. What is he teaching her? Don't know. It doesn't matter. It's more important that you get to see another lightsaber duel between them. Just remember that.
We got a blinky Anakin Darth Vader gif.
Oh.
Wow. Yay.
Did you see, though, his lightsaber was blue and then it was red? It was
And
blue before, now it's red.
His eyes did the red thing, and then they went like normal again when he was
bloodshot.
Happy.
And people on Twitter, who fans of the show, were crying at the Giphy thing, right? They said, "Oh my God, I was in tears." Okay,
there's a video out there by the Grizzy. So he does reaction. What he does, he cuts the reactors together, puts in his own little pithy comments. It's pretty funny. His latest one, Chef's Kiss. It's so good. So, the Grizzy. Go check it out. Yeah, it's hilarious.
The split between sycophantic Star Wars fans and like film Twitter, where you have them being like, "This is the greatest shot in cinematic history," and then all the film nerds are like, "This is shit. What do you mean?" Like, there's people who don't have the context who are like, "Why is this impressive? Like, it's smoke, you idiots. That's the only thing that's different about this. There's a guy walking with smoke."
This is the child's view. Like every time a kid sees a new movie, like they see freaking Endgame for the last time or whatever, and like, for the first time, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is the best film ever." And then they watch Jurassic World Dominion. And they're like, "Oh my God, this is the best film ever." It's like, because you don't know anything, you don't have any point of comparison. That's the level we're at now. And I think we were discussing this earlier. Star Wars fans have been conditioned to accept the sludge. The sludge is just like their baseline for what Star Wars is now. And when you get something that's just a slight level above that, it's slightly more interesting, or it's got something that they vaguely remember or recognize, they're like just clapping like the mindless seals. You know, "Oh my God, this is amazing. This has saved Star Wars. Dave Filoni's a genius." No, it hasn't, and no, he isn't.
And people won't like this in a couple of months, weeks, maybe. It depends.
They won't even remember it. That's the thing. They won't remember it. They won't like or dislike it. They'll be like, "What was Ahsoka?" I don't know.
The precedent for that is the fact that a lot of people think this is the return of Hayden Christensen as Anakin. And it's like, oh, guys, he was already back in Kenobi. None of you liked it, though.
Don't you remember? It's like, no, you don't fucking remember, because you don't even think about this sludge that's getting shoved down your throat. You just consume it and then move on to the next thing.
This might be breaking news for some Star Wars fans, but Anakin Skywalker's story ended. It ended quite some time ago. All right, in Return of the Jedi, and he can't come back.
Well, what if we have a world between worlds that isn't time travel but converges all the time?
Is this what Star Wars is now? Has it become pickers of bones, meddlers in other men's affairs?
Defiler of corpses. That's what they are. They are. It's code blue. Okay.
It reminds me.
Yeah, as Mauler. Sorry, on you go.
No, it's good. No, I was just going to say. Go ahead.
As Mauler was alluding to there, can someone clue me in? What the fuck even was Anakin in this? Is he a Force ghost? Is he a memory? Is he an imaginary friend? Is he a fragment of like Anakin's consciousness trapped in the world between worlds? Who fucking knows? Dave Filoni probably doesn't know or care. It's just a thing. It's just another thing that you remember. Just bring Hayden Christensen in again, because we remember him.
I think Ahsoka hit her head on a rock on the way into the water.
Yes.
Does our species Does her species need oxygen, by the way? Because she was underwater for like 12 hours.
That's not.
Oh, dude, I've seen such cope about this. People are like, idiot. She was teleported into the world between worlds and then teleported back into the water just right before they found her.
I'm going to do it again, Mo.
I legit, when they give answers like that, I'm like, do you know how many questions you've just created by answering the one question? Like, do you have any clue?
Fucking teleported into the world between
She
worlds.
fell into a
Fuck
space
off.
whale's vagina. You know, like how in the hell did that happen? It's so dumb. It is so dumb, and it was
space seals.
It what I assume it was all in her head.
Yeah,
like while she was unconscious, it was on her head, which makes it completely meaningless to the story.
Correct.
She just had to talk herself into, oh, I'm still awesome, and I need to live. That's it.
That's it. That's what I thought.
What was his lesson that he wanted to teach her?
Okay.
It's like, do you want to live or die?
We got a list.
Can I live? All right. Okay, you passed.
No. The lesson was don't buy retail.
Okay. So the lesson is the thing we do pretty much every day. Try not to die. Try to live and try not to die. Thanks. That's so deep, Dave Filoni, you savior.
I, for some reason, am personally invested in finding out what the fuck the point of this episode was, and so I've looked at almost like every interpretation. I have a list of different explanations from people who actually like it, right? The number one was Ahsoka is not like she's concerned as being Vader's disciple that she's on the same path and that she'll eventually become this horrible monster, and that maybe she shouldn't continue because of that. That's one interpretation, and that by the end she decides, no, I'm going to fight and I'm going to be a good guy. Another is she feels responsible for all of the deaths that came under Vader because she wasn't there when Anakin fell, and therefore, feels like unfulfilled or worthless and weak as a person, and that this whole experience was to get her back on top. Another one is that she, as a leader, feels that whenever she organizes anything, people die, people get in trouble. The clones, obviously, Sabine, fucking what her name, Hera, whoever, people get in trouble whenever she leads, and people die due to her orders, and she just can't do it anymore. And Anakin's like, no, you got to fight. And then another interpretation is that she's feeling suicidal because of the fact that whenever she's done fighting throughout her whole life, it just leads to death, destruction, as Balin put it. If you remember, he was like, your path is one of death and destruction or whatever. And so she's like, why not put a stop to it? Why not put a stop to the line that started with, Anakin to Obi-Wan to Qui-Gon, ends with her? Why teach Sabine to start killing people and extend this horrible but a killing? When I looked through all these, I was like, where the fuck are your references for all of this?
Yeah,
the whole episode is it has 4 lines from Anakin that amount to, you gonna die now? You gonna die? You gonna die now?
You're gonna die, bro. Yeah, all of these suggestions that you've come up with there, all these explanations would make for perfectly good character arcs for her throughout this season. But it would all hinge on her not being a fucking plank of wood with no emotions.
These are things they could have probably hinted more in and characterized more in the
previous episodes.
7 seasons of Clone Wars and 4 seasons of Rebels that they kind of allude to but don't say specifically.
Why would this be prompted
if you'd
now?
Had her be racked with guilt and doubting herself throughout this whole season, maybe even be aggressive, angry about her failures, that could have made the basis of a really good character arc.
Yes.
Her coming to terms with her failures, the shitty things, the horrible things she had to do during the Clone Wars, all of that. Great stuff. That's a good basis for a character, but you've got nothing. There's nothing to work with here.
But you as a writer, you also have to merge it with the plot. So a character either advances plot, and preferably both. Mm-hmm. And that kind of stuff is just endless. I mean, if you're going to try to squeeze in some kind of backstory character advancement, then you do it as short as they did in One Piece. You don't make it this weird extended nonsense that is meaningless to the plot. And the thing is, no one is motivated to do anything. The contestants on the Great British Bake Off have more motivation than any of the characters in this show.
You could fix this instantly, really easily, by having Ray Stevenson know exactly what she did during the Clone Wars and play on that. Like, you're a fucking war criminal. You've led thousands of men to their deaths. you don't represent what the Jedi are supposed to be. You're a failure.
Don't tell me.
Undermine. He could know who she is and undermine her confidence and absolutely destroy her.
What did
sense
Darth
of self.
Vader do? Darth Vader got in your head. That when he was fighting Luke, he got in his head, and Ray Stevenson completely could do the same thing. But no, I have an explanation. Somehow her guilt returned.
But doing that at the same time as echoing the clone situation, have her command Sabine after she believes like she's fully capable of taking on the Shin lady, and then have Sabine get an arm chopped off.
Well, Ahsoka should never have stopped taking my doll.
Well,
that's what I have to say.
The thing is, like, we can verify more. No women were harmed in the making of this TV show.
That's thank God.
Do you know what I mean? Though, like she could then be defeated by him after sending someone into their own death, as far as she's aware. And she just, has this low moment of being like, all I ever do is get people killed. Like, I'm useless. But the thing is, I don't even believe she could have that arc right now when she basically knows she's the only person who can stop the rise of Thrawn. He's on his way. How could you have this moment of like, oh man, I don't know if I should fight? It's like, what could possibly be bringing you down right now? You need to go tell Luke. You need to go tell the Republic. For some reason, you've been aloof and cardboard about it for the whole season up till now.
You have to tell Leia, not Luke. Luke is out.
How is she brought on by a literal who? She has no idea who Balin is. Neither do we. And yet he's saying that to her has made her go nuts.
I loved her non-reaction when she was transported to the world between worlds and Anakin shows up and she's just like, "Hey, what's up? What's going on?" Like, don't you have questions? Like, where the fuck am I? What's going on? Like, who are you? Are you a Force ghost? Are you really Anakin? Am I imagining this? Am I dead? Like, anything?
Shouldn't Anakin be telling her about Exegol?
Maybe.
And he'd be like, by the way, the Emperor's not dead.
He's not dead. By the way, Palpatine did nothing wrong at this point. Palpatine did nothing wrong. I am Team Empire now. They're right all along. They didn't get 6 planets destroyed later. We should have just kept the Empire around.
I think the New Republic deserved to lose, considering how shitty they are in every aspect.
Terrible.
Yep.
We talked about this earlier, where it's like they refused to allow Hera permission to take even a squadron of X-wings to go and investigate a potentially galaxy-ending threat, the return of Thrawn. And yet, when they find out that she took a few X-wings away with her, they send an entire battle fleet of starships to go and apprehend her. Where's your allocation of resources on this one, guys? It makes no sense.
And the woman that popped up in the little 3D thingy, can't remember her name.
Mothra?
Yes, Mothra from Godzilla. She goes, and what is your Mothra. And what is your proof of this? And she goes, I don't have any. Yes, you do. Ahsoka's son. You got tons of it. Ahsoka was right there. You could just ask her.
2 of your ships have been destroyed.
Yeah.
Did they have dash cams or anything?
Oh, and the robot guy. The robot guy recorded the entire transporter circle-y thing.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
and also, why would I lie? It's like I'm a general in the fucking.
She has no clout, apparently.
Okay, I'm saying I've seen this gigantic space fucking vagina that can transport you into another galaxy. It looks like it's going to be really dangerous. There's a bunch of people who are talking about bringing back Thrawn. I think I've proven my loyalty. I wouldn't be lying about something like this. Can you just send some backup to my location and help me out on this one? I'd really appreciate it. That doesn't seem like the sort of thing that you would need to prove if you were a person in her position to get a little bit of help from the Republic.
Yeah.
It's incompetent matriarchy. Isn't Ahsoka and Anakin, by the way. A lot of people might feel like the episode was half and half, but if you chop it down, you get I think 10 minutes of them at maximum, and most of it is shots where they're walking and running and shooting and lightsabers and smoke and flashes of stuff. And I think I'm being very generous when I say 10 minutes. So much this fucking episode was landscape shots and then Hera slowly walking, a kid slowly walking.
That's right. Take your kid to war day.
I'm just going to say as well, that.
What the fuck?
Hera comes out of the Ghost. That's the name of her ship, isn't it? It's the Ghost. So she brought her son to war day, and she comes down the ramp and she points her gun around for 2 seconds, and she's like, "Meh, seems like the area is secure here. Jason, come out. I'm sure it's safe. It'll be fine." And out he comes. Like, what the fuck is this? Why did you bring him here? What's your justification for any of this? It's like, oh, because he's force sensitive. So he can sense the fucking like Ahsoka's dead body floating around in the water that apparently is still alive after like 12 hours of being submerged, and they can go and like fish her out. That's literally it. That's the best that Dave Filoni, the savior of Star Wars, can come up with.
And what was it? There was a little bit of Sabine smegma all over the the round Tetrisy thing, the map thingy.
I mean, and Ahsoka can produce smegma, I'm impressed.
Well, I'm listen. I'm giving I'm going out there and saying we're living in a trans world. We're allowed to.
They can be anything they want.
It can be anything they want. And she was able to. Ahsoka, I think, was able to pick up on this is what she was thinking, and this is what she heard from. What's his name?
It's so convenient when the Force
convenient.
Yes. Literally anything. It can allow you to replay past events.
Mm-hmm.
And this
pretty cool.
This handy. Is the point I was trying to make with I see this now so often, especially your other favorite show, Strange New Worlds and Star Trek, is that the writers just they come up with a convenient answer at that very moment, not based on any kind of logic at all. This is what we need to move this thing forward. Yes, I have the doctor in front of a very complicated communication device. Of course he knows how to use it. Of course. He's just a doctor. Why would he know the communication device on this ancient vessel? It's like the writers just write what they need at the moment that they need it. It drives me nuts.
In season 2 of Star Trek Discovery, Saru, the Kelpian guy,
the tall guy,
is trapped. So he punches a hole in the floor and makes a communication device out of what he finds in there.
There you go.
Works for me. Like
no explanation, dude. And it's just gotten worse. That was years ago, and it's just gotten worse. It's Star Wars, Disney Star Wars fans. I can't say Star Wars fans. Disney Star Wars fans are their own worst enemy. I mean, you like what you like, whatever. I don't care.
Sorry to bring it up.
No, but it really is. It's guaranteeing we're going to get more bad Disney Star Wars. This brand is dead. It needs to be locked into a vault for a decade minimum, if it even has a chance, which it probably doesn't at this point. Like every second they film does more damage to the original trilogy, and we have much more bad Star Wars than there is good Star Wars. Like it's overwhelming at this point. Yeah,
the fact that the people who adore this don't even agree on what it was.
Right. They don't.
That shit drives me nuts.
They just saw some live action Clone Wars, which is what they wanted. But these are stories that are over. You can't go back. Even if they did some stupid multiverse thing, which I would not be surprised if they did at all. That would be the worst thing to happen to it. And it's all going to eventually lead to Disney remaking the original trilogy. It's going to happen. Take it to the bank. That's the only card they have left to play. They're not going to get rid of Star Wars. They're not going to sell it. Maybe Apple buys Disney. Sure. Apple's worse. Have you seen their commercials lately? Apple's much worse than Disney.